friends! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Justina, and here I like to make, create, and inspire fun art things with you through my DIYs. As you see by today's title and clicking on today's video, I have all new spring DIYs that were super affordable, easy, but really fun to make. But before we get started, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you here, part of our virtual art family. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for clicking on today's video and joining me today and making some really cute and fun DIYs. But don't forget to do all the YouTube things down below, which is like, comment, and share to at least one friend. It really does help out my channel. Now, with all that being said, let's just jump right into it and let's art today. For this DIY, you're going to need a wreath form. This one is from Dollar Tree and it is their 14-inch wreath form. I'm just going to remove the label here, but any size wreath form will be just fine because we're just going to make a regular wreath. Next, I like to cover my wreath form with using some sort of fabric or ribbon. So I just have this burlap ribbon, once again from Dollar Tree, that I'm just going to wrap my whole wreath form with. I did glue it down first, and then now I'm just wrapping it all along the outer edge and really pulling tightly so everything is nice and snug. Once I get all the way around, I am going to hot glue it back into place so everything is secure, and then I'm going to remove the excess. Now you can always add another piece of ribbon to the back of your wreath form so you have a place to hang it, but I chose not to because this is burlap. It has openings for where I need to place it on to a hook. I'm just cutting off any extra strings that were in the way. Next, to decorate my wreath form, I have some Christmas ornaments left over from Christmas time, and I am going to paint them over. Now you can always take this outside and spray paint it to make it quicker if you would like to, but on this particular day it was really cold, so I'm just painting mine using some Waverly chalk paint. Now, if you decide to do it this way, it does take quite a bit of time and you do have to do multiple layers. I believe I did about 3 layers and still a little bit was showing through, but I just added another layer on top. Next, I'm going in with this gorgeous blue color, and that's because lately for my spring decor I've been doing a lot of Alice in Wonderland theme, and this kind of correlates with that theme, so that's why I'm using these particular colors, but you can opt out and use whatever colors that you will like. Next, I have this nice vibrant green, and I'm painting a couple of them using that green color. Now it's time to attach everything together, and I had a couple of ornaments that were already white, so I'm just using the ones that were white that I didn't have to paint. And to attach the ornaments to my wreath form, I'm just using my hot glue gun. Now you can always use a stronger glue if you want to, but for my purposes, hot glue works just fine. I will continue adding all of the ornaments in different sizes and colors in various places and making sure to connect them to one another, also using that hot glue. Now for this particular wreath, I'm not going all the way around the wreath form. I'm just going to do half of the wreath form in these ornaments, and that's because I have something else for the other half. But I also think it would be absolutely gorgeous if you took all of these ornaments and went completely around to make a beautiful spring wreath. But like I mentioned before, I'm just doing half of it. After I have everything attached down, I have this Dollar Tree welcome spring sign that they have new this year, at least to my Dollar Tree, and I knew that I wanted to use the lettering. Now at first I just started to remove the lettering by pulling it off of the string, but they are stapled down and it broke the letter G. But don't worry, I did fix it. After I figured out that you're not supposed to manhandle it and rip it off of the string, I decided to use my pair of scissors and just cut it off of the string, and that's what I did for the remainder of the letters. I am only going to use the lettering. I'm not going to use the bunny rabbit that says welcome. I'll just place that to the side for a different project later on. After I have all of my letters detached from the string, I'm just placing it onto the wreath form just to get an idea of where I want to place each one of those letters. Now, since this is on a curved surface, I had to get a little bit creative with it just to make sure that all of the letters fit. And then once I have my idea where I like it, I am just once again using my hot glue gun to adhere it down to my wreath form. I absolutely love the muted tones this year for spring. It is still pastel, but it's very light, and I absolutely love it, and it goes perfectly with my Alice in Wonderland themed other decorations that I have made thus far. Now that I have all of my letters glued down, it is now time to decorate it even further, and I like to make my wreaths a little bit overflowing with a bunch of stuff. So first I'm going in with some ribbon, and I'm just showing you here that I like to cut my ribbon down to a certain size and then pinch it and glue the ends together so it makes this little loop. I make a bunch of them in all different types of ribbon. I have this nice blue with a white trim. I also have this iridescent or see-through ribbon, and I also have this yarn. Now I love this yarn to be a pop of yellow color just to give the wreath a little bit more interest. Now I will cut those ribbons down to that length again, pinch them all and glue them together so that I have a bunch ready to go, and then I will start adding it to my wreath. As you see here, I'm just placing it in various spaces wherever I think will look good. Remember, you can get very creative with this and make it as abundant or as minimal as you like it. Question of the day is, what type of decor do you like for springtime this year? Do you like the bright, vibrant colors, or do you like the soft pastel colors? Because so far I'm liking the soft pastel colors for my spring decor. After I have the ribbon where I like it, it is now time to decorate it even further with some florals and greenery. I have some of this fake lavender florals from Dollar Tree, I believe from last year, and I'm just going to use the flower part of it. So I just popped it off of the stick, and then I'm just placing a little bit of hot glue on the end and pushing it into my wreath form. Then I went through my crafting stash and found a bunch of different greenery that I just thought was perfect for the springtime. So then I just started adding them in various spots, once again using my hot glue gun to attach it down to the wreath form. I did also decide to add it to the other side of the wreath so that everything looks cohesive and evenly, and then I just added a little bit more, and that completes our DIY. I absolutely loved how this wreath turned out. It is super simple, but it's really refreshing and so colorful. Even though the colors are soft pastel, I just absolutely love it. But I would love to know what you think about this wreath down in the comment section below. For this DIY, you're going to need a pack of these little wooden rabbits from Dollar Tree. They come 10 in a pack, which I thought was really good for $1.25. And once again, they are ornaments, so they have this giant hole on the top of it, but we will cover that later. I am only going to use 3 of them. Next, I have this leftover frame from a different project that I am reusing, but Dollar Tree carries a whole bunch of different frames that would be perfectly for this DIY. I don't have the back of this frame, so to remedy that, I'm just using a piece of cardboard that I cut down to size. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was cover that cardboard so we won't be able to see that, and I have some scrapbooking paper that I absolutely love. It is in this dark purple color that I will cut down to size. I added my cardboard right onto the paper, took a pencil and traced it out so I know exactly where to cut. Then I will cut it down to size. Now, there are so many different ways that you can cover your backing. You can also use those peel and stick wallpapers from Dollar Tree. That seems to be a big hit right now, so you can do that, but I'm just using what I have on hand. After I have it cut down to size, to attach my paper to the cardboard, I'm just using hot glue. This has always worked for me and it doesn't come off, so that is what I'm using, but you can always use Mod Podge or a glue stick or even Elmer's glue, but for me, I'm just using my my hot glue gun, pressing it down so that everything is nice and attached and smooth. Next, I want to work on my frame, and I will paint it using my Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White. And I do have to give it a couple of coats. Now, it is kind of hard to see the difference, but the first paint job was, I believe, in my sheepskin, was just like an off-white, and this is just pure white, so I will add a couple of coats and set that off to dry. Next, I want to work on my bunnies, and I want to paint each bunny a different color. So this one is in the soft green in my apple barrel acrylic paint set, and I do have to give it a nice generous coat, as you see here, but then I remove a lot of it so that the wood grain shows through. For my second bunny, I am going in with one of my favorite colors, which is this orange cream color, and once again I'm giving it a nice generous coat, but then removing most of it so that the grain will show through, and I just think it's absolutely adorable, and I really love that orange color. For my last bunny, I am going in with this summer sky light blue color. Once again, these are very soft pastel colors so that everything kind of goes together, but you can always change up your colors if you want it more vibrant and bright. I still think it would turn out really nice. Next, it is time to attach everything together, and to do so, once again, I am just using my hot glue gun, but making a very thin line on the outer edges of my backing so that I can add the frame right to it. Once again, you can always use a stronger glue if you would like to, so everything has a permanent hold, and then I'm just attaching my frame right on top of it and pressing down firmly. Then I'm going to add my bunnies into the center of my frame, and I am dry fitting it at first and adding the bunnies so I know where to place them and that they will be evenly spaced. And then to attach them down to the back, I am using my hot glue gun, just adding a light generous amount on the back and placing my bunny right onto the backing again. And lastly, to hide those holes on the top of our bunny's ears, I just made 3 bows using this light orange ribbon that I absolutely love, attached it using my hot glue, and that completes this DIY. Now, you can always add a little ribbon to the back of it, and it could be a nice cute little sign that you can hang up, but I just opted out and left mine a little shelf sitter, and I just think it's absolutely adorable. But I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. For our next spring DIY, you're going to need a canvas of any size that you like, and next you're going to start sketching onto your canvas. I am drawing out a butterfly to the best of my ability with using a pencil. This won't matter later on, but just try to get a sketch that you like. Now, if you do not want to sketch on your image, you can always print one out. You can use vinyl, you can even use stickers, but I am just going to sketch mine out. Next, I am going to start painting the background. I'm using that same orange that we used on the bunnies and a light yellow. I wanted to go for a tie-dye look, so I'm adding one color first, which is the orange, blending it out, and then I'm going in with the same brush that is dirty and adding the yellow next to it and then blending them all together so it gives that tie-dye look. This just screams spring to me, but remember, you can paint yours however you like. Next, I have some cornstarch, and I'm adding it to a bowl along with some mustard yellow on top of it and other various colors. I wanted to add this to that cornstarch to give a really thick paint. Now, I've been seeing this a lot on Pinterest where a lot of people are painting with thicker paint or some caulk or even some spackling. You can do this all sorts of ways, but I'm just using what I had on hand, which is cornstarch. Then I'm going to mix that paint and cornstarch together until I got the thickness that I'm going for. And this does take a while so that the cornstarch mixes in with the paint and it is a nice smooth consistency. After I have the consistency that I like, I'm going in with a popsicle sticks and placing that into a sandwich bag. You can always use a piping bag if you have have that on hand. I did not, and since this was a smaller quantity, the sandwich baggie worked perfectly. I'm going to then place it down into the corner there, snip off the end, and now that is now my piping bag. And next, all you are going to need to do is pipe that paint onto your canvas. I am outlining my butterfly here, but what I forgot to do the first time was add a really thick coat. You want it to be raised off of the canvas, so I did make a second butterfly that I will show you here shortly, but as you see here, I'm just piping the outline of my butterfly. Now you don't have to be perfect because you can just mix it up later on, and since it's so thick, you can always fix it. There is plenty of time. Next, I'm taking a really small thin brush, and as you see here, I'm starting to pull the paint down. This will give it another texture, but like I said before, I should have went a little bit thicker so I had more space to play around with it. As you see here, I'm just lightly putting my brush into the paint and pulling into our wing here because you want those strokes to really be seen. This is so that your painting will have multi-textural items on top of it. It just gives it another look. Then I'm going in again with my piping pad and adding a second layer on the inside of our butterfly wing, and then I'm doing the same exact thing, pulling it using my paintbrush and fixing any areas that I messed up earlier. As I'm finishing up this painting, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you here, part of our virtual art family, where we do a lot of DIYs with an artistic twist. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, but don't forget to smash that thumbs up button if you're enjoying today's content. Now, as you see here, I'm going in with a black acrylic paint and I'm adding it to our butterfly's body and his little antenna. Now, I did mix up some black with the tan color just to make a little bit of a grayer look, and then I'm just filling it in. After I am done filling up his little body, I will place that to the side so that it can completely dry. Like I said before, I did make a second butterfly. I painted the background the same as I did with the first painting so that they can be a matching pair, and for this one I did not sketch on a butterfly. I pretty much just free-handed it with the paint mixture that I mixed up, and for this one it is in that blue color that we used on our DIYs earlier. That way it looks more like Absalom from Alice in Wonderland. And then I will continue doing that same technique that we did before, adding a second layer and then once again pulling that paint in so it has a nice thick consistency and a bunch of texture inside our little butterfly. After our butterflies had time to completely dry, I wanted to add another depth of detail to it, so I dipped an old paintbrush into some Elmer's glue, and I'm painting that on those raised edges that we have created with that thickness paint. Now some of it started to crack, but I didn't really worry because we're going to cover it anyways. After I have the glue on, as you see here, I have some metal flakes from Dollar Tree. They were in the plus section for $3, and I'm pretty sure I bought this a couple years ago and I still haven't made a dent into this bottle, so a little bit goes a long way. I'm going to add some of those flakes onto the glue that we just placed onto our butterfly, and then I will continue doing that exact same thing for our second butterfly. And you want the glue to completely dry before you try to remove it. As you see here is all of the gold flakes onto my first butterfly, and this is where I decided to remove some of it. Now some of it started to come off really easily, but then some of my glue wasn't completely dried, so I did let it sit for a couple more hours before trying to remove it. The best way that I found out to remove those metal flakes was taking an old scratchy paintbrush and started sweeping it off. That way it goes as closest to the glue as possible, and then you're left with a nice golden outline, which they came out so beautifully. Then once you are done sweeping off all of your gold flakes, that completes this DIY. Here is how our butterflies turned out, and I absolutely love it. Now, with our first butterfly, I didn't completely cover it, but I just love how aged it looks. But the blue with the gold really pops. I would love to know which one was your favorite down in the comment section below. All right, friends, that completes today's set of DIYs for you. I had a blast making each and every one of these, but I can't really pinpoint which one was my favorite, but I would love to know which one was your favorite down in the comment section below. I love to see all of you guys' suggestions down there. It really does brighten up my day. Also, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you here, part of our virtual art family. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, but don't forget to do all of the YouTubey things, which is like, comment, and share it to at least one friend. It really does help out my channel. I also want to give a huge shout out to my Patreons. My first two Patreons, I am so honored and so happy that you decided to become a Patreon. So thank you so much. Now, if you are wanting to become a Patreon so I can shout you out on my next video, the link will be down in the description box below. I have a free welcoming video over there, so make sure you go check it out. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, I will see you in the next one.